Oh, meh. Bacha, bacha. Ka, 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 bah.
That's what they keep doing. Hey guys, welcome back today. Let's talk about some what should you look for in a concealment holster. It's kind of interesting because I was actually writing this article thing together, and I was like, holy batshit, I haven't written a concealment holster article or pictures or blurbs or whatever in about 8 years. I wrote one for BarfCom. Anyways, so here's a video version of it, a short abridged version. So let's talk about holster materials. Holster type materials. Um, Generally, holster is going to be made up of one of three types or a combination of three types of material. You have your classic nylon type material. Overall, any sort of nylon holster, they're shit, they're garbage. So it's a one size fit all kind of holster. They fit nothing well. They kind of fit everything. So it's like a flip flop that you would put on your foot. Yeah, you can wear it from like here across the living room, but you wouldn't want to go on a arduous trek or hell across a gravel road with it. So fuck that. That leaves you two other types of materials. You have some sort of Kydex type material or some sort of leather type material. Cowhide or horsehide is usually the top two. So Kydex could be folded, molded chunk of plastic essentially, or plastic type material. It could be injected molded. Um, Most of it, the best quality ones tend to be, when it comes to Kydex holsters, tend to be not injected molded, but formed and temperatured right and all that stuff. Examples: NSR Tactical, Green Force Tactical, like they get all that stuff pretty well done. There's a bunch of other brands that do it now. Anyways, digressing. So those are your holster type materials: leather and Kydex of some sort. And of course, now you have these combo type holsters that are a combination of like a leather backing and a Kydex shell to allow your gun to be somewhat form fitted. Um, so next on the list, downgrading from holster type materials, two types. You have on body carry, off body carry. So off body carry would be like carrying a bag or purse or satchel or inside a brown paper bag or some crazy shit like that. And I'll talk about that in a different kind of video. So let's talk about on-body carry because that's what a holster will be mostly designed for. Yes, you shove a holster inside like two Velcro sides, like shoved into a pack or purse. Again, I'll talk about that in off-body. So on-body wise, you have inside the waistband, outside the waistband, also known as IWB and OWB. So inside the waistband, actually let me cover outside the waistband first. That is pretty obvious. The holster will actually sit outside of your waistband. So it'll attach on the outside like this through your belt loops. Attached via your belt on the outside. So pros and cons about it. Big pros about outside the waistband. It's usually pretty damn comfortable. It's a little bit easier to get to your gun because it's usually beyond a bunch of the jackets and the shirts and all that other stuff. Biggest negatives about it from a concealment standpoint is they're less concealable. It's like a big ass tumor sticking off the side of your hip, like so. Even if I throw my hoodie over it, sometimes the hoodie, even though it'll hike up, you can see the outline of a holster because it's outside of the waistband. So outside the waistband, for the most part, definitely not as concealable. If you decide to go with an outside the waistband, you want like a kind of a pancake type holster, something that really snugs up against the body to be pushed up against the hips, and that would require a good gun belt. In addition to that, if you decide to, this is probably, this is an old outside the waistband. This is the CQC holsters from Blackhawk, not their gay version that has the Serpa lock. The Serpa, which has a little finger lock right here. If you want to have increase your chances of having an ND, definitely the holster to get. Other than that, they're kind of cheap, crappy molded pieces of plastic. But if you had to get a Blackhawk OWB, get this one without the gay lock on there. This one has a different way of attachment. Sometimes they have belt loops that attach on there, like this one right here. This type right here is a paddle, and you simply drop this into your waistband, and the belt will simply snug in between this space right here. So, anyways, those are Kydex versions, and they make leather versions that are OWB. Digressing. Anyways, so that's outside the waistband. Pros again, comfortable, easy on, easy off. Could be another pro. Cons, the biggest ones, not as concealable. Next on the list is inside the waistbands. Inside the waistbands are very peculiar in the sense like the majority of the holster will actually sink deep into your waistband, like so. So only the butt of the gun will actually stick up, and your loops can readily attach. So when we talk about that, that's important because inside the waistband, the biggest pros about it is they're more concealable because you're hiding more of the holster. The biggest cons are it's not as comfortable because, well, you got most of it shoved in your pants. So to keep things, you do want to look for in a concealment holster are essentially these three things. You need your holster to be secured, okay, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. You need it to be comfortable, okay, so you can carry your stupid gun, carry your fucking gun, so you're like, oh man, this thing's like a big ass tumor inside my pants on my hip now. So comfortable, so you will be more inclined to carry it, and it's got to be concealable, okay, so you don't tell everybody else in the world that you are armed. So kind of fit those three criteria. Now, when we talk about secure, the biggest one is the gun must be secured in the holster. Okay, so an easy way to check that is if you turn the gun upside down while it's in the holster, the gun should stay in the holster. A very simple friction lock. You can adjust tension like so on there. No big deal. All right, so that's what we mean by secure on that standpoint. Another way of securing the weapon is the holster body itself must be secured to the belt itself, whether it's through loops or through tech lock or OWB loops, a clip or whatever it may be. You need that piece of that holster to actually secure to your belt, so the holster itself doesn't go flying out of your pants, or when you start to draw the gun, the holster goes and stays attached to the weapon, because sometimes that shit can happen. So secure from two standpoints. One, you want the gun to remain secure in the holster, so when you're jumping, running, punching, kicking, climbing, whatever, the gun doesn't pop out of your pocket and land in the middle of a four-way street. Ask me how I know. And you want the holster itself to stay secured to the belt and therefore onto your body. Excuse me. So secure. Other little things about the securement part of the holster that kind of fit into that word category, so to speak. You want the trigger guard to be fully covered and secured also. That way no debris, no trash can wind its way into the trigger guard, like drawstrings, twig branches, your fucking fingers, whatever. Shirt tails to wind up in there and get onto the trigger face, and as you're applying pressure forward or backwards, as you draw your pistol or reholster it, could discharge that weapon. So good covered, secured trigger guard. Comfortable, kind of really talked about that. If the holster that contains your weapon is not comfortable, you're probably not going to wear it too long. That is dependent a lot on comfortability, and concealment is definitely dependent a lot on body type and gun position. If you're wearing it inside the waistband, essentially you're going to be carrying it on the hip side, hence inside the waistband, and it will be either generally strong side cross draw, okay, offside cross draw, so across from you. Strong side, like appendix, what they call appendix if you're right-handed. Strong side hip, okay. Those are pretty much the big three. Like if you had to pick, I would generally go with if it's on your waist. Yes, you could do like an old cavalry draw or small at the back, like back here. But I don't generally recommend those two for a variety of reasons. Ease of accessibility for yourself, difficulty of retention, difficulty of concealment, comfort level. There's a variety of reasons why I wouldn't recommend those last two. Generally, strong side or appendix side would be the ones I'd recommend if it's on the inside the waistband. Outside the waistband, usually it's reserved for strong side, just behind the hip. All right, so that goes into comfort and concealment. All right, so we talked about those. So let's talk about securing, just some general things, holster materials. I don't have a